Okay. $16 with the new minutes would make for a long hour. So solution B is to divide the new minutes into half minutes, but rename them as minutes. Is that confusing? Which essentially means if the power AC is 50 hertz, the digital clock marks half of that, 25 of the cycles. And that's a new minute. And by doing that, instead of 16 hours a day, you wind up with 32 hours a day. Not bad, 32, we like 32. 32 bad, 64 bad, it's good. So you got 32 hours in a day. And to get a feel for how long that hour is, it would be comparable to the standard half hour we have now, which is 30 of our current minutes. And you convert that to new minutes. Let's see, now I'm talking new minutes. Well, I got confused. We can't change anything. Alright, we doubled the hours and halved the new minutes at this point. Okay, well, before we halved the new minutes, it would have been 33 1/3 new minutes. Or should we call them double minutes now? Okay. Gets confusing. But the point is then you have 66 and a sixth, right? To be 33 1/3 times 2 is 66 2/3. So 66 2/3 new minutes. So isn't this screwing up our evenness? No, that's what of the old minutes you're getting in an hour. Or in 2 hours, which is an hour now. I'm getting confused. Okay. If you got 32 hours in a day at 25 cycles a second per minute. Okay. How long does an hour feel? Basically all the time. Alright. How many of those minutes are in an hour? Okay, new minutes a day is 1296. I forget. With 16 hours, it's 81 new minutes. So 40.5 of these, that was the new minutes before I halved them, right? I had to have them, didn't I? 32 hours. So we halved them so they would still be 81. That's what we did. Because we can't have 0.5. So we've got a system with 32 hours with 81 increments per hour on the clock. Can you do it? Yeah. I guess so. It's a little hard to divide the clock, maybe. I don't know. Is it? Yeah, it is, but, it's a standard clock. Yeah, you're going to have trouble with standard clock. But, with computers and CAD and stuff, it ain't that hard to put 81 ticks in a circle. It may look weird. How do you mark it off? Well, we like to mark it off in 5s, right? Or 10s. 10s be fine. And you've got 8 going around the clock, right? Or do we now? Now you got 16 going around the clock. That's 16 numbers, evenly spaced. But, let's say, how many ticks per... It's not even 10, is it? If it's even 10, there'd be 80. And if it's not 80, it's 81. Could be an estimate. Alright, say you're estimating. Of course, that could be the new minute. Which will make the new minute. Interesting. Then we're giving a little bit more at every minute. That's what we were doing. So, because, well, what you've got is, what's 81 minutes to the hour? That's 81 minutes to the hour at 25 cycles per second. How many seconds per minute are we doing here? Anybody figure it out? Did we decide how many seconds are per minute right now? Because that's important. Where did we get 12.96 minutes to the day? We got 12.96 minutes to the day because we marked off 25 cycles per second. Well, that particular second came from a system where there were 60 seconds in a minute. And we might not want 6 seconds a minute. Right? You slowly change things here. Do it too fast, you lose it. And so this might work out better. Get past this problem. Okay. And the trick, we want to adjust this too. So, oh God. let's get back to wavelengths. You've got a wavelength of 11.11% more than what we're using now. If you've got a clock, way it is. Okay, turn the knob to the frequency. That's 90% of 60, which is 50. Right. Turn that knob to 90%. And your clock, based on AC current, slow down. So at this point, we're not concerning ourselves how many seconds are in a minute. Or are we? Well, in a way we are. Because that's why we're winding up with 1296 minutes in a day. It's 1296 minutes a day. We have to find out the number of seconds. Okay, so if we have 1296 minutes a day, but that's times 60 seconds in a minute, isn't it? It is. And if you cut that back to 50 seconds in a minute, see how many minutes you got. You're back up to 1,440 minutes again. This compensates back. Right? Only now each minute is only 50 seconds. Cool. Now we're getting somewhere. So you've still got 1440 minutes in a day. You've got 50 seconds to the minute, but each second is marked off by power that's running at, okay, is it 50 cycles per second now? Can we call it that? Maybe time isn't relative. Maybe time is absolute. So now we're saying we have 50 cycles per minute. What was that based on? No, 50 cycles per second, sorry. So, 50 cycles per second. What second were we talking about there? We're talking about the old seconds. Blech. That's 50 cycles of the old seconds. A second shorter now. By how much? Is it shorter or longer? And what are we talking about? No, it was 50 cycles per second. And it's longer. It's a fatter second, right? Fatter second of the old seconds. What do we want out of our minutes? If we want 14 to have 14,400 minutes, if we want to keep it 1440 minutes in a day, then it's more about demarcation, I guess, than anything else. This becomes hard. When you got 1440 minutes in a day, that's it. I mean, that means each minute is 1/1440 of the day. Which would mean that the vibrations running into your outlet haven't changed. Where are they? If you got 50 cycles a second coming in your house, what has changed? The second or the cycles? The cycles changed and the seconds stayed the same. Okay, we're back to the theory, which is if you're doing it digitally, you just count off 50 cycles instead of 60, because you will 50 cycles coming in, and that would be the change to your digital thing. You wouldn't have to change a damn thing. You'd have a clock the same way it is. That's if you want it that way. But if the clock's the way it is now, it's same old, same old. It's 60. It's no. Yeah, that would keep it as 60 seconds of time. Okay. What we have to understand is the speed of the alternating current coming in the house. I was assuming from it that wavelength's not changing, and that we're counting off 50 instead of 60. And that's not what we're doing. Or is it what we're doing? If we're counting off 50, cycles, those cycles have to be slower. For all the count of 50 cycles, the wavelength has to be slower. Well, now we're talking rates versus physical look of the wave, right? What you got is, if a wave is longer, it takes longer when it's coming at you to accomplish a cycle. It's taking longer to come at you to accomplish a cycle. If you compensate for that, you've got better power coming in the house, but you're still looking at a clock that's dividing things into things that are not 1, 2, and 5. And that doesn't completely solve the problem, in my opinion. But does a clock that's divided into 32 hours and 81 minutes per hour an improvement? 81 was that prime number? So I don't think that solves the problem well enough. The thing you cannot avoid is how long a day is. That's not going to change, regardless of what electricity is coming to your house. Unless now you start getting theories that it's electricity is determining the day. And what if it was? Boom, new concept. I figure that out, then I'll explain why the days are short and none of them are long. Okay. It's like something has to hold constant. So what is it going to be? And what do you use to get hold of the intervals? And then you got to check and balance that you came out with the same amount of elapsed time in one day. You lengthen the wavelength. But what determines a minute? No, it's what determines a second. That's what it is. What do you gonna determine a second is? Now that you slowed down the wavelength. And is that going to make it 60 cycles a second again? And then you haven't gone anywhere. No, alright. Are you going to have a new second? one to determine how many cycles there are per second. It almost seems like power could never be anything but 60 cycles per second. Well, alright. So you're imagining things. Maybe it's fiction that anywhere in the world it's anything but 60 cycles per second. I don't know. Alright. Getting crazy. Because once you slow down the wavelength by whatever it is, it's 90%. No, if you're slowing the rate, which is using time. What's physical about a wave? Dang, you're getting really crazy. Okay. And are we talking a rate? Where do we get the rate from? Can you control how fast it comes at you? Aha. Maybe you can't because it has to do with the speed of light. Ooh. Well, you actually calculate wavelength. Wavelength converts to rate based on the speed of light. Fact. Electricity. Believe. But we're talking about a ratio here, so you increase the wavelength. Doesn't seem solvable, does it? So just stretch the wavelength. What we measure doesn't change, right? We didn't determine the wavelength of a 60 Hz segment, did we? Well, I'll tell you about that. Maybe I'll go back and we'll do that before we go any further. We need a baseline. And put up the calculator. I'm not sure what the formula is either. Well, again, if we know 60 Hz a second, we don't know what the wavelength is. I think we need to sine wave. So, alright. Let's bring up. Alright. Don't ever say Google wasn't useful or something. Am I on the internet? No. Here we go. Frequency wavelength. Computer. They calculated 1 over frequency. Thought this had to do with light. Let's take the first one and see what we get. Does this work? How would the wavelength of any frequency signal enter the frequency number? Why do we wish to go? Then select the digital. The default is megahertz. Oh, I don't want that. 1,000,000 hertz equals 1,000 kilohertz. 1 megahertz. That doesn't help me. Yeah, but nobody's giving me the equation. Alright, what doesn't matter? I can find that afterwards. Alright, take this to hertz. Frequency is 60. And what do I have? Where do I get the answer? Do I hit full wave? Okay. Now all this crap. Was I supposed to put the wavelength? No. Frequency doesn't meter band. Meter frequency range to use. 10 meters. 28,700. I enter 60,000. It's 10 meters. There are 7 kilograms. It's actually higher frequency. This doesn't really answer my question. What frequency? This doesn't do it. Doesn't do it yet. Okay. Fail. Alright, let's try something else here. Wavelength MC square system design group. Okay, so hertz. What is the wavelength? Let's see. In 60. What is the wavelength? Okay, here we go. That's an even 226 inches, isn't it? Now you know where they use inches. I never knew. Where the fuck we got inches from? Wow. Learned something today. Isn't that crazy? It doesn't work out even in any... Well, feet and meters, it's not even. Do I care about meters? What do I care about when I'm talking wavelength here? Well, the whole point was we're going to change it. So in theory here, when I go to 50 hertz, the number of inches is going to go up 11.111%. Okay. And let's just put it in 50. And then we don't get any number of inches. We get 271.2 inches. But in meters, now it's even. I always said we should use metric. So that's cool. Very cool. You've got an even 6.88 meters. And now you know why we have two forms of length. We wouldn't need it, but we need even numbers. Some for 60 hertz systems and some for 50 hertz. Okay, I learned that too. Doesn't say anything about that here, but that's deduction here. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock kind of shit. So don't use okay. Alright, this is the key thing here. So 6.88 meters. big. The meter is like, well, it says right here, it's 22.6 feet. And divide that by 3. I don't know. Just want to think about football. 22. I don't watch football anymore, but you divide that by 3. And that's 7.533 yards. Okay. Might become a football fan again. You know, that's like weird. 7.5, which is kind of a third or something, but it's not. Well, if you have 10, okay, let's just kick it up a notch. Like a 10-yard penalty, okay? If it's 10 yards, that's 75.3. No, 10 yards. Hold on a second. That'd be 5 hertz. Alright. Let's do something really weird. If it's 5 hertz. 5 hertz is 226 feet. Which I believe all I have to do is multiply this by 10. Check that was clear. Do it right. 226 feet times 3 equals. That's 5 hertz? Wait a minute. 5 hertz is even feet now? Wait a minute. What do I mean? Okay, hold on. 22.6 feet before. Oh, now it's an even number of feet because we went up 10. Cool. So, it's a feet. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we multiplied. We don't do that. Okay. So 226 divided by 3. Okay. That's 75 1/3 yards. And 1/3 yards. Which is 75 and 1 foot. 75 yards and 1 foot. 100 yards to a football field. So it's 3/4 of a football field plus a foot. See, and you're wondering why I'm looking at like 80 minutes plus 1 minute. It kind of makes sense now almost. Why it's kind of weird. I think. So, what do we want to talk in now for this way? What is important about this wavelength? Is it what is it in meters, or what it is in feet, or is it in inches? Alright, let's go back to 50 hertz. See, and that's not an even number of even inches. It's 271 2/10 inches. That's a friggin' huge long wave, isn't it? I mean, that means one cycle, half of that, half of the sinusoid, like a hump, is going to be, well, 271.2 divided by 2. I'm getting lazy. 135.6 inches. Well, it's right there. How many feet? It's 11.3. So it's a 22%. 11.3 feet to go half of that wavelength. Okay. The tiles on my floor. Let's say, I'll put my foot here. My guys, they're at least a foot. They're about a foot. Check the tiles on your floor if you got any. So you count off 11 tiles. Wow. We got a hallway here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Our hallway. Oh my God, this is scary. I went in there. Our hallway is exactly half of a 50 hertz wave. Half. Now you want to figure out if your house is laid out to resonate at a 50 hertz wavelength or a 61. And that would tell you how far this crap's gone. This home here certainly was here several years, I think. I'll check the length of this house. Hold on a second. I'm going to count this off in tiles. I'm assuming now each tile is 12 inches. I haven't checked that. Hold on. Oh, talk about conspiracy too. We got some of our tiles are diagonal. And that makes it a hell of a lot more difficult to tell. But we only have a design of diagonal tiles. Some homes they started doing it. I said, why? It's like, isn't that pretty? But you know, you can't do what I'm doing on diagonal tiles. It becomes more difficult. But we have square, straight tiles, so it's going to be easy. If these are 12-inch tiles, the length from the left wall to the kitchen door, which is the length of this house, across where the street, parallel to the street, 35, about and a half tiles. If that's 35 and a half feet, so I can't do this one in reverse, can I? 35 and a half feet. Let's go back to 60 hertz. So we hit the ballpark. 35 and a half feet, mind you. Okay, now remember, resonation happens at any multiple. Like 2 doubling and whatever, but it's usually comes at half the amplitude of what you were dealing with on either side of hitting the prime frequency. So 35.5, what 60 hertz you've got? 18.8 feet. That's 60. Okay, I'm going to make it half that, 30. 30 hertz. 30 hertz comes out to 37.6 feet. 37.6 feet is a little more than 35.5 at 60, at 30. Now, remember I said I wanted to use a new minute to be 25 hertz? Okay, this may be exciting. 25 hertz, the wavelength is, I just thought it was 45.2 feet. I said this was 35.5 across. So then where are we if we're just poking around here, trying to get 35, because I can't do this one backwards. Right. So if we want to lower in feet, we go higher in hertz, right? And we did 30. And we got down to 37.6, which is closer to the length. And if if I had to go to 30, how about 33? Here we got point 3 through as many threes as I can. I wonder if that's it. Now you got 33.9 feet, which is 34 feet. Getting really close. What about just 33 even? Now you got 34.25, 34 and a quarter feet. It's about the length. So basically, in a nutshell, 33 or so hertz. But see, a 33 hertz wavelength is the full wavelength, which means, and I wonder if half a wavelength would make this place rock, or oscillate even more louder, because think about it, you're not splitting the wave half of the house. It would be stable because a wave would hit, the positive wave would hit half the house, the negative wave hits the other half of the house, hits it the other way. You really don't feel like you're going to be seasick. Okay, but, and I'll say I don't need to know these tiles are exactly 12 inches, and finding that out may actually make this more incriminating, because the 60 hertz signal, that the full signal is all about, let's say it's round to here, it's about 19 feet long. Let's see, well, let's say we're going up in frequency, there's actually more wavelengths. So what I'm trying to find out is what frequency would be just 1/2 of a wave across this house. And that would be where it was, I guess. 30 hertz. It'd be half 30 hertz. Half of 30 hertz. Well, 16.6666 is what is half of 33. So then that's 67 feet. Trying to get half of 67 is 0.8. So 67.8 divided by 2, 33.9, 34 feet. And why did we choose that? Because that is, stop it. And why did that scare me? Oh no. Okay. Right. We're under the impression that we use 60 hertz electricity. And what's funny is, I think about it, we were told that our hearing's 20K, but yet it's not 20K, it's not 1024 bytes, it's 20,000, and 44 kilohertz is really 44,100. You start to wonder if, when they said we have 60 hertz power, we're really using like maybe 66.6 SSS, or 60, 6 2/3, so you start to wonder, but, because they wouldn't want us to know. But if it's 60, of course I see a lot of electronics, they talk about compensating for 60 hertz, so that's right. So I say go back to 30 hertz. And that's like bingo. Well, when I put in 30 hertz, that's half of, half or what, man? Confused there. Okay. A full 60 hertz wave just make a complicated issue. You got 60 hertz wave. The length is half of this house. You got a 30 hertz wave. The full length is about like this house. You got 30 and a half, you get 15. 15 hertz. The full wave is 75 point and a third. Whoa, didn't I see that number before? 15 hertz, 75. Where did I see that number? I did find that number. What was that? The number of yards? That was the number of yards. Well, that makes sense because we're a third. We're a third of 60 hertz. I'll be right back. I may have discovered here maybe why the yard is so important and why it's 3 feet to a yard. Excuse me. Because the value of 60 hertz wavelength in feet is the number of yards of a 15 hertz wavelength, of course. And it's the 15 hertz wavelength that would shake this house to pieces. Someone once told me, hey, all you need is this pulse coming in, there'd be no electricity and nothing more. What else could it do? think we all get lulled to sleep because we're thrown, scary shit at us, like Cry Wolf. And the idea is, horror films, everything, scares about nuclear disaster, including instruments of mass destruction. And pretty soon, it's like Cry Wolf. It's like you're watching Saturday Night Live, and I saw it, and they're joking about, where's those instruments of mass destruction? They weren't there over there. That's a good happily ever after idea. I hope it's true. But if you want to look at the scary side of things, and 15 hertz. Well, our hearing is, here's even says up here somewhere, it's 20 audio frequencies of 20 hertz to 20,000. What else to say here? Might be important. Never read this stuff. This calculator will tell you the wavelength of any airborne audio frequency in inches, feet, and meters based on the speed of sound at sea level and at a 20 degrees Celsius or 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Why would we pick those numbers? Note that with audio frequencies of 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, that is the proper way to display it. It's not 20K. And it says the range of physical sizes of wavelengths is, we're talking about audio frequencies. I think the last, whatever it is, 310 divided by 2, 155 hertz is reserved, and I think our hearing uses that either. That's my theory, because all our audio music was actually sampled at 39690. And that number is significant because it's exactly 9/10 of 44,100 hertz, which is the sample rate that winds up on the CD, which is the kick it up a notch sample rate. That is just compressed from what they digitized at M, as far as I see it. That's either that or it was fine because our power was at 50 hertz and blah, 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 and now it's 60. I don't know. Okay. No, I was just saying that is substantial. The range of physical sizes is 1,000 to 1. Okay, so yeah, that means our hearing detects up to 1,000 of we have a resolution. Okay, cool. Of 1,000 to 1, and that's not 1,024 to 1 that goes either. Okay, then we talk milliseconds. Remember that it's 1,000 to 1,000 milliseconds to a second, which is interesting. I thought I'd think about that. And this causes no end of problems with loudspeaker system design. I don't know. Okay. Does it really? I don't know. Some speakers are very simple. Okay. Regardless of that comment, which may be subjective. The thing is, the reason I read that is we got a 15 hertz signal, which is approximately a hump or half a wavelength of the length of this home, which is 35.5 feet, hopefully. Somewhere in that range. 904 inches. Okay. Now, that would be just below what we could hear. And it's below lowest on the piano, I'm sure. I think. So if I have A400, the lowest A is, let's see, the next A down is 200, the next A down is 100, the next A down is 50, and I believe the lowest A is 25 hertz on the piano. I don't know what the lowest C is. Okay. So let's look at 20 hertz. We got even numbers here for all three answers. 678 inches, 56.5 feet, and 17.2 meters. I say they're even because they're not repeating decimals. I'm taking about 20,000 leagues under the sea now. Okay. Alright. 56.5 feet is the full length of one wave, positive and negative. You take 56.5 divided by 275, and you get 28.5 feet. I wonder if I can look the specs up on this house and give me dimensions without having to measure it. So go to add up the dimensions of the kitchen and the living room. You should have it. I don't know if I can look it up. This is not property, it's not for sale. And again, all the houses in this area might be about the same. Alright, well, let's do something crazy. Length of aluminum siding homes. Yeah, images. Siding sizes, standard siding panel dimensions. Maybe I'll go ahead and answer. Oh, here you go. And then I don't know if they cut them down much. Might give some idea. Because they probably built the home based on multiples of aluminum siding lengths. Vinyl siding with solid change siding color, aluminum siding. Width, inches 36, which is the yard. Data coincidence, centimeters, blah blah. Length 40 inches. I know my width would be 36. And this is maybe not. Gets us an idea. Coverage. Here we go. 10 square feet. Alright. This might give us a clue. Assuming they got a full cut here. People design homes probably based on ease, you know. Don't want your people doing construction to cut every single siding piece. If it's anywhere as on an even yard, it could be 10 yards across here. 10 yards across is 30 feet. No, wait a minute. Yeah. That makes 30 feet across, not 35.5. Which is possible, because I'm not sure these soils are exactly. Well, I think actually my hand's about 6 inches across. And if I had to measure it, these are probably 10-inch tiles. Okay? 10-inch tiles, alright, let's do a calculation here. See if we're in the ballpark. So if you had 10-inch tiles, no 35 tiles, that's 250 inches, 350 and a half. Maybe even like take the half into account too. Half is 6 inches more, 41 inch, 41 now, I'll clear it. What did I say, 10 inches of toil, 35.5 inches, alright. Well, I said it was, I thought it was 35.5 feet, right? But I'll do it in reverse here. 30.5 10 inch per tile. Oh yeah, plus an extra half a tile. Right? 10 inch tile. Well, it's simple. 355 inches. 355 divided by 12. Bingo. 29.58 feet, which has to be rounding. It's got to come out to 30 feet. 30 feet means 10 yards, folks. This home is 10 yards across. It's 10 yards of a football field. Exactly. I wouldn't doubt it. People, men particularly, don't do things odd. Make it easy on themselves. Alright. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted to know. Because that means... What does that mean? $30 feet across. Wavelength, one of the humps of the sine wave. What is that in hertz? Take 20 hertz divided by 2. 10 hertz wavelength. Even 113 feet. I know we're going off. I'll close the calculator what I did for. Okay, 113 feet is how many yards? 37.6 yards. 37 2/3 yards. We were talking this place is 10 yards across. It's only 10 yards across. So we're looking for a wave that's 20 yards across. The full wave. 20 yards across. We'll do it in reverse here. So 20 yards across times 3. 60 feet across. We're looking for a wavelength. Wait a minute, how do we get lost here? Yeah, we're looking for a wavelength of 60 feet across. Exactly. We want a wavelength, so we get 60 hertz. This is why maybe that'd be 60 hertz power. It may be 60 hertz wavelength. Something we're not being told right. Something units is probably not what we think. Could be. Could be. So I'm still recording. Try them. Yeah, we are. Okay. I can interpolate this, I guess. I can't get exactly what is the hertz now for 60 feet. Okay, well, we want something actually 120 feet because, well, no, I'm going to go crazy. This has 30 across, so we want 60. That's what we want. Alright. So, let's clear this out. Alright. 113 divided by 60. And then what times what? Wait a minute. Okay, the ratio. I don't know what the norm ratio is here. Okay. All right. 113. So divided by 10. Well, I guess that's the number. It's the number of feet each heart. I don't know if you can do this. 11.3 times 60. No, I'm screwed that. I'm thinking about this right. Alright, let's hunt and pick. I'm too tired to really think about this. Alright, 20 hertz. Bam. We're right in the ballpark. 56.5 feet. That's 3.5 feet shy of 60 feet. That's 20 hertz. So maybe somebody thought, okay, that makes sense, I guess. So, we gotta have power, but we don't want people to hear it. We know the audible range is 20 hertz. So they basically put our power source just under that. And how much just under is it? Go to 19 hertz. You're really close to 60 feet. If you do what? Let's try 19 and point I pick 666. Double number, right? What do you got? 57, so we overshot it. How about 19.3? What do we got? Still close, but no score. How about 19.3 even? Nope. Somehow 19.2. Might have it now. Okay. Keep going down. How about 19.166? Nope. How about just 19.1? Hold on. It's more fun this way. I'm getting tired. 19.1. We're still shy. 19.0 something, right? 19.05. That's under that. 19.04. Still under. I think I know what it's going to be. 19.3. Probably still close. Still close. Okay, so 19.03 through the. That's probably it. Really, really close. I don't know if I have enough threes. I don't know how many I can get. Well, that's not. No. 19.03. What? 6. 19.03. 5. Wait, we're going the wrong way. Alright. We gotta come down. 19.02. Just thinking of Lincoln. What is it? 1909 dB, right? 1909. Okay. And 1901 is what? Less. 19.001 is what? What was Is 19 even? It must be under 19. Wrong way. Okay. Let's go to 18. Now we're okay. 18 points. Now we're probably getting close. 18.66. Higher. So the price is right. 18.75. Ooh, okay, we're now higher. 18.77. Higher. 18.8. That's that one. So where are we going? Where? That was 18.832, which is an even sixth. That's it. With lots of zeros. Okay. Finally. Okay. 18.83. Notepad here. I'll start documenting this. Okay. 60 feet wave length is length of home. No, wait a minute. Is, no, wait a minute. What do we want to really say? 60 foot wavelength is twice the length of home, meaning half that is 30 feet. 10 yards. What we calculate was that AC power used to shake your home out of peace. And I believe it's the half of that that's a killer. Even so, an even multiple is enough to do. And alright. So 30 is 10 yards, 60 foot wavelength. And that which is 18.3. Hertz. Hertz is lowest audible sound. 60 hertz is AC power. which is 8 that cube 18.3 da 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 feet. Anybody scared yet? The reciprocals of each other coordinate. Where am I going with this? I know, yeah, I'm talking about it. Your 60 hertz pair gives you a full wavelength. That's 18.3 1/3 feet. But your length of your home wavelength yields a frequency of sinusoid of 18.3333 hertz. So, wait, put in 18.33. 18.333 hertz wavelength. Now it's not, I'm probably didn't put enough threes. How am I going to do? And now it's not calculating. Did I do something wrong? Was it 18.03? I was kind of calculating. I wonder if now all our calculators are broken. Okay, 18.03 hertz. They're going the wrong way. Rely on this one now. With no warranty of its accuracy or applicability, and any use made of this information is done so at the sole risk of the user. This information provided with no warranty and sole risk of the user. The company is MC Squared System Design Group. They're in British Columbia. The website I'm going to is mcsquare.com/wavelength.htm. So now I wonder if I should get calculating. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's get out of here. I don't need this. Because I think It has to do with the speed of light, and I can calculate that from here. I think what I got up to now has been accurate. So if you got 60 hertz gives you a wavelength of 18.3 feet. Let's try writing things around. 60 hertz is per second. That's cycles per second. And feet. And I'll try 60 times 18. Well, light is based on something miles per second, right? It is based on miles per second. So you got a signal that travels at 60 cycles per second. The wave travels 60 cycles per second. What does it mean? It means the same point on the sign crosses. Or it just means it's wave that's going up and down, back and forth 60 times a second. So it means light's traveled so far every time it's alright. You're getting 60 signs in per second. 60 of them. Okay. So first thing you need to know is how many you're getting. How much time does it take to get one cycle? 1 divided by 60. Take the reciprocal, right? Yeah. I'll write that in the input. We're going to fix it. Alright, so that is 0.166 dot dot. Of a second to produce one full wave. Oscillating at 60 cycles per second. That's how long it takes to get a wave. And we know the length of the wave is 18 1/3 feet. So that should be easy. How far it travels in a second will give us the speed of light. And we want to do it in miles, right? I think the speed of light is not as fast as we think. Okay, that's what I always wondered. Okay, how many miles are in a... so, how many feet are mile? 500 and... alright, hold on a second. So how many feet are in a mile? Better find out before it's not accurate anymore, right? One day probably only you find what's right going back to school. Alright, how many feet in a mile? I know if I say it, 5,280. I remember that. That's correct. Alright, close that down. Put that here. 5,280 feet per mile. That's a fucking lot of feet. How many yards is that? 5,280, because we know about football fields. Divided by 3. Exactly 1,760 yards per mile. And compared to our home here, our home being, what, 10 yards across, right? That's it. Our home is 10 yards across, so you can have 176. There you go, 76 is that magic number of freedom, right? Isn't that interesting? And then all we're doing is brainwash. 17 times 7. Okay. 176 homes back, side by side, side by side, make up 1 mile if 10 yards across. Of course, we're not taking the fact that we have property. And, oh, yeah, this is crazy. What if the distance between homes is also exactly 10 yards? Or they're, yeah, add another 10 yards before I hit his side of his house. No, I don't think it is. Could be exactly half of that. 5 yards through. Okay. That's a question to answer. How far between homes? Am I done? Okay. Yeah. 176 homes. If you want to walk a mile. So if you walk back and forth, then you're home. 176 times you've walked a mile. Crazy, ain't it? Okay, now. So the wavelength we're looking for here was which? Okay, it's power, 60 hertz. And what was the wavelength of a 60 hertz? 18 point something feet. Oh yeah, just curiosity. 18.33. That's feet, right? Equates to. Well, there's that 1 number that the music's marked up by. Is that coincidence? So 18.33 blah 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 feet is 6.11 yards. 6 yards. How much is 6 yards? A little more than a 5-yard penalty. What if that's the distance between homes? Is this that distance between homes? Question. And why would that be significant? Okay, but the question is we want to confirm the speed of light vibrating as being the factor that and what it is. And to do that, we'll take so we have per mile 5280, and our wavelength is only that much. How much that is that in as a mile? You simply take in a calculator 18.33, let's put them under them, and divide that by 5280, which is even, and you get some weird number without that, like, see. Alright, so, and this is probably not accurate because I didn't put enough 3s and stuff in it. So, what's safe to say is probably 2 all the way out. So, as 0.0034722, and I'm sure that's repeating miles. That's how many miles of 60 hertz wave length. Are you with me, Silver? Okay. And I might want to reiterate that that's of one wave. One full wave. And it goes that far in 1 second. Right? Check our logic here. You got 60 of these happening a second. 60 of them. Each one has a wavelength of 18.3. So in a second, it's going 60 times that, actually. Right? 60 per second. I know what my, yeah, that's what it is. So actually, in a second, we traveled 60 of this the above length. Or Mr. Beach doing this too. Class. Alright. And then that should be the speed of light. And then, alright, well let's multiply by 60. And you got 0.208 333 miles a second. Point 208 333 miles per second. Well, that's not light. Which means what? Let's go back. Website, that's what particles here, sound. That's what it is. We're not talking about light. We're talking the speed of sound here. What's the difference? Isn't sound and light just different frequencies? And if they are different frequencies, why would anything travel faster than anything else? Sound doesn't have mass, or does it? Well, they say sound is only created because particles are bumping into each other. And that's happening at a different rate than, and electricity doesn't exist in space. That's a vacuum. That's an open circuit. So this is why your computer doesn't travel at the speed of light. The only thing that travels at the speed of light from the computer is the LCD display light to your eyes. Everything else is a lot slower, and that would explain a hell of a lot why it takes so long for the maze of wires in your tiny little processor, which might extend out to a very long length actually if you put it end to end, and then how many times they got to go through that. Why it takes so long to get anything processed in your computer. Okay, so if that's how many miles it is per second is the speed of sound, I guess, of particle collisions. Which may not change much, or may, depending on what material is vibrating. Including electrons, in a copper based circuit. So, well, voltages and all this stuff and electromagnets, isn't that light speed? I know. Isn't it? So where does it divide it up? Which is right, which is wrong? Is there anything in between? Or maybe this is the limit of everything, including light. I think so. Well, when they talk about light coming from the sun to the earth, it's the speed it takes in like a vacuum. Space, not supposed to be a difference, right? We do know you warp light with things, and so as it really can't slow down light. And maybe I'm confusing the issue. Alright, this might be just my lack of understanding. But in any case, what does this come back to? If you take the speed of sound, and then we will actually look that up too. So we're going to take 0.208 times, and that was miles 5,280. And the answer is, looks like it rounds up to exactly, because it's like 0.99999. Interesting number. Be good. Come here. Where else? Okay. We got 1,100 on the dot. Miles. No, not miles. Feet per second. Would that be Mach 1? Which is how many yards? Exactly 366.2 yards per second. Now, let's do the, that's my browser. Why did I close my browser? Time to do a sanity check. And the drum roll plays. Speed of sound. They give it in meters. 340.29. Anybody got it in 768 miles per hour. 1126 feet per second. What number did I come up with? 1100 on the dot. Ooh, who's right? Well, you know, that program I was using, the numbers changed. I wonder if somebody, like fixed the accuracy, like a few seconds ago. And now it's accurate, because it was off after that. Oh, who's right? Because I was getting some good even numbers there for a minute. Tell you what, something's incriminating, I know. Then you wonder who's right. That's the problem I have with the music. You wonder who's right, who's wrong, and then you realize you're right, and the music was wrong. I'll be back in a minute. it would not surprise me. People are covering up the tracks every day. And they could have been using a program like that, and it was aggro because they did not want, anybody to know what the real formula was. So it's masked if you have a website and you're just calculating it and nobody knows what the factor is, right? And then all of a sudden somebody's using the website and they say, this is, wait, this guy's not supposed to be using it. What if he finds out this number is different? And then bing, all of a sudden somebody fixes the number. It's kind of like the music screwed up everywhere. Now, a lot of places, I hear it now, it's right speed. Because once you alert people and they start to pay attention, somebody will go, someone say, that dude, he's right. Music's fucked up. But then, if enough weeks or months or whatever pass, and now everywhere the music's fixed again, now it's more like somebody finds out I had reported it and I don't hear anything. Well, it's all late. Didn't know it's fixed because of me. Because now the problem doesn't exist, right? So it did ever. It doesn't matter anymore. So this is kind of exciting. So I asked, which is right? You've got an answer of exactly, from that calculation, that was 1,100 feet per second. And that caused so many coincidences. It's really interesting, that a 60-foot wavelength produces 18.3 hertz, and an 18.3 wavelength produces 60 hertz. It's like palindromics, Remember palindromics? It's like works both ways the same thing. Wouldn't that be special? That would make it special, wouldn't it? Would to me. And how it affects anything, I'm not sure yet. But now I wonder which is right. Because this thing here, Wikipedia, of all things, who wants my money and yours, is saying that the speed of sound is 343.2 meters per second. And then, in parentheses, it says 1,126 feet per second. So where'd this 26 come from? And why would somebody put up something on a website and only round it when they could have easily put in the full 126? I don't know. Gets a little suspicious. I'm sorry. And then it to be fixed and changed, and now it has changed. And it didn't up now. So we can look down, maybe we got a lot more opinions here about what it really is. Excuse me for spitting. Okay, so, I don't know, are we just rounding up? The speed of sound in helium at 0 degrees is about, it says, 972 meters per second. Oh, interesting. Helium, why did they mention helium? Helium is, laughing gas, right? Then we have another one here. The speed of sound through air or any other gas element can vary depending on two factors, which I imagine is density and temperature. Do I need to verify? Want to see if I'm right? See if I pass test. These are depending on the temperature of the air through which sound is. Okay, I got one right. What was the other one? The speed of sound at sea level, blah blah blah, is 1225. Because gas molecules are colder temperature, to make the sound barrier decreases higher in the atmosphere where the temperature is colder. Does that make sense? I always found pricks in my ear when it was hot. What was called prickly heat? Wasn't it called prickly heat? Am I talking BS? Could be. Now they're showing little rats on this video and advertisement. I don't know what she's doing. She's pointing to the computer screen. Is this that rat test with the maze? I don't know why I'm watching this. Oh, they're using sound to see what the rats do. Maybe I should be listening to the audio here. This is somebody in Vancouver. Looks very excited. I'm like watching this like a silent film. She's taking the rat, puts it, I guess, in a sound, in like a sound room. Now they're going to a computer monitor. They're watching the little rats. Oh, they're on a hump. What are they trying to do? Now she takes the rat out by the tail, sticks it over here. And what is he doing? He's going to escape the... She points to the sound waves. I have more fun doing things this way. Auto test. I don't know. I don't get it. Okay, now they're showing like nerve endings. Turn the volume up. Obviously they're doing something with sound and the rats. Now it's over. I think a video is good when you can't figure it out without sound. It says the sounds of survival. Okay, then it was what I thought. They're finding out what sounds induce, I guess, mice to want to procreate. I would say rock and roll. Okay, now. Well, actually, if you ask me, what they're trying to determine is the opposite. And what they've done to most of us is keep us in such a stressful environment and such that we don't even feel able to raise our penis without, like, buying pills. And that's part of the research, if you ask me. Anyway, alright, so what did I find out? I don't think I ever discussed the other reason. To me, it's about the density of the air. Well, it says colder. Now it's all temperature. So there were two reasons. I get here, I don't see two. Also, on the type of gas to which the sound moves. Sound only moves through gas. No, it doesn't. Okay. I think that's like a partial answer. Because why it depends on the type of gas depends upon the density, upon how it conducts the collision of particles. It could have been said better. I think it was not said as good as it could have been. And this website was lifescience.com. The page was 37022-b-of-sound-mock-1.html. And so far I find a lot of different numbers for what Mach 1 is. So basically my number could be as accurate as anybody else's. Depends what you're using to determine that. Well, let's do this. I gotta ask, what maybe that was error is 1100. And maybe what was posted was for some other condition. So I could ask what medium gives, I don't know if I'm going to answer, sound a velocity of 1100 feet per second. Go. The Navy at the Trading Series. The velocity, so I'm not crazy. A velocity of sound in an elastic medium, was that quantum, is expressed by the formula. Even through solids, the speed of sound in air may be considered as 1100 feet per second. Next listing Googled. That was from books.google.com. Question mark ISBN equals 1329667751. Under U.S. United States Navy. Okay, then we got about electromagnetic waves, and this is from gwc.maricopa.edu. Phonetically /class/ PHY101 /PTest P101 chap 15 pretest.pdf. And it says, if the speed of sound is 1100 feet per second and a tuning fork oscillates at blah blah blah. I'm just reading as the way it passes. Let's go in there. I want to see the full this what it says here. This is a test. Making Waves, chapter 15. Okay, this is a quiz test. I don't know what this. I don't know what that. I don't know where that was. That's out of context. And that's a test. Oh, elasticity of velocity transfer. And even does solids, going to 1100 feet per second. And what if this does have to do with quantum? What if it has to do with transmitting vibrations during sex? I don't take anything as coincidence and why that video popped up. Think about it. It could be exactly the speed that any communication done through touch can be achieved at. And what makes copper conduction any different than, say, passing electrons? What makes that any faster than any other way we touch each other? Reach out and touch with someone, bell south. Maybe you can't even get an emotion through the phone any faster. Why? You can still laugh over the phone, or used to. I don't know if you can today. The sound is so bad. Yeah, perhaps. What? My gal was showing me the old time phones, and then you have the way you would take a tube, or it'd be crazy to think that a wire from my phone to your phone going through the telephone system is still the same as taking 2 cups and a string and talking. Isn't that crazy? It really could be more closer to that than you think. It's scary. But it's still bumper to bumper vibrations. So what makes it any different? It might just be only the fact that you've got an amplifier and a speaker. That may be all it's made you. Then you start to wonder, is any electricity ever even flowing? And am I getting crazy? Yeah. then I told you, I had a bulb I took out, and I held it. It wasn't dead. I just took it out, and it lit up in my hand. So where was the electricity coming then? I'm starting to think maybe I should stop paying my electric bill, because it's a scam. My veteran war friend says you shouldn't be paying bills for anything you already paid for. You're paying twice. When you pay the bill, you're paying twice. So, I know it's getting crazy already now. So the fact of the matter is, I'll put it like this. This is 1,100 feet per second for a typical solid medium. So now I ask, what's the speed of sound in copper? Or maybe I should ask the speed of electricity. Well, let's try one thing at a time. Speed of sound. Wouldn't it be weird if we're passing sound and we're not? It's all and we're not passing electricity. Oh god, not gonna do right. Speed of sound, and if there's even an answer, it would make me weird. Copper. There's an answer. Okay. Speed of sound in various bulk media. In water, here's one. Okay, I'm going to note that one. Too. Water is very important. That's a big one. Living water and then and oh, there's gold too. These are good ones. Okay, so water. It's an even, apparently, 1433. Well, that's meters per second. And then that gets me having to deal with getting it back to feet. I'll just put it down. We'll convert it later. Might be the same as what we got. So meters per second water. Sound. And the other one with copper is faster. So copper is faster than water, faster than whatever the default is. Meters per second. Copy. Now here's the one that you might not guess. A lot of people say you need gold, tipped phono plugs and stuff, and they sell it at a premium price. But guess what? It's right here. Actually, I want to make sure but it says 3240 meters per second, and just verify that. Well, there you go. And glass is important because the monitors, right, and LEDs. So gold is 32,400 meters per second. And why did they change the units all of a sudden just to give me more work? Okay, that's gold. And glass is important. 45. They only put the important ones you can bet. 40 meters per second. Now, how's that compare? Glass is slightly less fast than copper. Why that's important? That's the question still to be answered. But it means that copper is faster than glass. So you're looking through a window. So then you got copper in window and security things on windows. Okay, and then aluminum, which I tell you, don't cook in aluminum, it's poisonous. But that sucker must conduct good because aluminum is 6320 meters per second. And most wire is made out of, I guess, steel. Or is aluminum? Or is it lead? I'm going to take down lead too. Because I've been talking the fact that batteries are made of lead and that they recycle the lead, and why is that supported? And gasoline is unleaded now. Lead is down there about, it's pretty low on the lower. It's 1210. Whoops, wait a minute. Okay, that's lead. And we need to take air. You got air at 20 and air at 40. Why is the air at 40 important? But I'll tell you, if you want to know how it varies based on temperature, you can probably like prorate that, extrapolate, so both would be useful. I could take this page down. We got new passive. We got it's much lower, obviously. 43 meters per second, which meter is about 3 feet, so that actually might be closer to that one value, which is for typical solid. Why would air? I'm not sure. There's something else here. About 343 second air, 20 centigrade, and 355 per second air, 40 centigrade. And we know rubber is an insulator, and if you're wearing a rubber to try and make love to your lady, now the information you're transmitting to her, instead of being the speed of elasticity, and that's what it was at 1100 if I recall. So that's for elastic, which I would say is flash. Elastic. Check elastic. What's that button quit? Hold on a second. Flash. Blue Heart, that's right, one of the Navy, one of the naval site seamen. I won't put that down, too. Navy. What's that? Navy. Seaman. Sweet. Yeah. You using rubber? Well, Charlie, if you expect her to know what you were talking about in machine language, she ain't gonna get it, because that sucker is 60 meters per second. And let's see here. Well, 60 meters would be about 60 yards. Not even. What's a meter? If it was 60 yards, you might as well be shouting to her from the other side of a ball field, because she ain't gonna hear you. And how much rubber you got in your hand? What are other rings of rubber? Do you have rubber bands littering your floor? A pile of rubber bands in a drawer? Maybe your lady's making rubber band jewelry. You got rubber feet. That might be right, you know. Rubber feet on your CD player, your amplifier, rubber on your speakers, rubber tires on your car, so you never feel like you're touching the ground, and on and on. You don't feel like you're in touch with the family members in your home? While you have more arguments driving down the road in the car than you do when you take walks through the park? Am I close to what's true? Maybe. Okay. So we're done here. Good enough. I think we killed it good. It says gases, material. Did I do anything with gases? I didn't get any value. Yeah, air was. What is that? That's material 47. Alright. I think we killed it. So all that was to prove that my value below 100 feet was fine. And in fact, if you're talking about screwing up human thinking and stuff and whatnot, I think we nailed it with 1100 feet per second. I do. So if we go all the way back, we were talking about, I'm not sure I'm still recording. Yeah, I guess so. So we're talking about the fact you got 60 hertz power running through your home, how it's affecting your life and your family's life and communication in your home and peace in your home and even on the far thought of weaponry, what would happen if they kicked up, I don't know, either increase the amplitude, the voltage, all of a sudden one day, I don't know how much they can do that, or just raise the frequency even more than what it is. How about raise it into the audible range? Like we ain't got enough fucking things bothering ears. Would that make it hard for you to get out in the morning and go to work? Would it make it very hard? Do they have a knob down at the power station where they can do it? I don't know, do you? Who works at the power plant? I don't, never did. It wasn't a thing. I learned all about computers. I didn't learn all about it. I didn't learn about electricity, particularly power electricity much. No. They sat there and spent a lot of time talking about the power segment of the 741 op amp, and I was completely lost then, and I'm still lost on that. Granted, I didn't try to go back and figure that out. That's a homework for God knows when. But didn't get it. When it came by me in the class, nope. Never got it. It was my job to have a private discussion with the teacher to figure it out. But didn't have time. I guess. So where are we going with this? Why did we need to know this at all? Well, I guess one thing is interesting that, why your computer doesn't, or your phone doesn't calculate light speed. Now you know. And in fact, why Wi-Fi sucks. You're talking about, once it's Wi-Fi, you're getting 343 meters per second. Probably that's the speed of the information you're going to get. Much better than around there. A third of even 1,000. Which is, I'm guessing, the speed that humans can communicate when touching each other. And that's why touch actually is 3 times more expressive. Yep. Than talking to someone. Wonder why the words get in the way. And if you could look at someone and knew everything, that'd be the fastest way, right? And then, but when you got a cable going, you got the sucker plugged in. This is enough to make me go back and get my Ethernet cable and plug right into the router. This would do it. To think, look at copper. We're talking 10 times faster. 4,600 meters per second. More than 10 times faster. So what you're telling me, assuming, there was no other Wi-Fi to get from my router back to, whatever Time One or whatever you use for your cable provider, and then do you know that they're not beaming that by satellite to somewhere else? And because I don't know if that's any faster than the speed of air. Well, then you say, well, that's optical or something. Well, then it should be light, right? So, but what about your router? That's why is it so slow? I don't think it's speed of light. Well, at least that's radiation. That's Wi-Fi. All right, we're confusing the issue. I would say whatever they're doing with satellites isn't going to slow you down unless it's a cloud. So, but you could get speeds 10 times faster, and you're too fucking lazy looking at him because you're not close enough to the router. This is worth it almost to run a friggin' cable into the bedroom. It really is. I mean, it's sick. This is slow shit. And she's suffering because it's slow. But then she wouldn't want like an ugly wire running into her bedroom. Well, I say it'd be worth it. But this kind of statistics. So bottom line, is 60 hertz affecting your head? Well, in fact, we determined that it was 18.3. Where is it? I didn't see it. Hertz. Where did they put that? 18.3 hertz. 18.3 hertz represents half of a wavelength of your home. Of the length of your home, if you live in one like mine, which may be typical. You can call it the width. The length is the sprawl to the street. It's about comparable to what my dad is saying. The depth of your home varies, but then I think it might be more to do with the fact that you're parallel to the street. And you figure every car runs down your street. And for me, it gets so annoying. Why these cars running down the street make me feel like I'm on a cruise ship. And this may be it. So, next question is, well, would 50 hertz power somehow stop that problem? And I didn't write down what 50 hertz comes out to be. But now I got the speed of sound, so I can figure that out myself. What we got is a difference. But that 18.33, well, if you double it, you get 36. If you double that, you get 66.66. I think it's interesting. There's something about, or 2/3, there's something going on because you got a record player that when it plays at 33 1/3 under current, 60 hertz power is playing the record at 11.11. too fast. If you got a variable speed turntable, which usually has 10% variation in speed, or at least the lowest setting is 90% of the strobe calibrated setting, you're running at 30 RPM, and that speed is the speed your record plays correctly at. Okay? I've done the research. You want to know what it does? Do it. I have a YouTube video out there. I don't know, I had a couple accounts, and then I settled into one. One of the accounts I have is there. My turntable, which I pieced together to make it work again, because it was falling apart. The arm, the tone arm, was on by a piece of a nail. I rewired it from scratch. Used telephone cable. The wires would get in the way and make it skip. I would sit there and put empty CD cases on any side till it was on almost like a 30-degree angle to make it play right, and it would only play a couple songs at a time right, and then it would start skipping. But I got a recording of it. Police album, Synchronicity, last 2 songs. I did other recordings too. Some came out really well. I was trying to recover the albums too. Now I can't show you on the video that it was at the lowest speed. I don't know how I could have. Take my word for it. I had that little what is it? That was slammed to the lowest setting. I guarantee it. You didn't put it on an e-book. That's what it was at. It was not at the strobe setting. I guess what I should have done, in retrospect, which I can't do now, that player doesn't work. I got parts from, I bought another turntable that was also damaged, but it has a good tone arm. I kind of put the pieces together, but I haven't actually put it together because I can't. I want to get one that really works well. My dad still has one, and that is very speed, but he ain't giving it to me. But whatever it is, at that time, that was my original turntable. Why it got busted up, I don't remember now why I ended up doing that. I think the wire broke, and then the connector broke, and this and that, and I just got involved in a big project just to get it to work. In the end, I just had to do it that way. But it's amazing I even got that recorded. And it's the 2 songs at the end. Like the first side, it's last one was Tea in the Air. Before that was the one Wrapped Around Your Fingers, right? So, and those both came out. And funny is between the tracks you can hear about what they would call backward masking, because you can hear talking and stuff like that. And then you realize none of that's true. What you got is you've got stray tracks on the tape, because it's multi-track tape, reel to reel. And they're bleeding through, because I know I'm at a 4-track. Even on a 4-track cassette, it bleed with the faders all the way down. I went through a lot of trouble sometimes to totally erase other tracks that had garbage on it because of bleeding through tracks I was using. And that's what happens when you're in a hurry or nothing's really properly erased. So all that crap isn't evil. No. And in fact, if it's backwards, it's simple common sense. Hey, maybe they didn't want to rewind the fucker, and they turned the tape around, or they put it on the reel backward. They erased it all, but sometimes erasing magnetic strip doesn't erase it completely. it was used tape, whatever, or there was a track that was faded down, it gets on the thing, and mostly you hear it like between, if you don't hear between song tracks, you hear it when there's a quiet spot. And then isn't like anybody trying to say, and if you heard bad words backwards, well, the tape was still running, and Robert playing or whoever, he was cussing up a storm, or he was just telling a joke, and then that shit's on the tape. They flip it around because whatever. Maybe they don't want to rewind in a hurry, and they don't care what's on their side, and then they're off recording. They have to burn a record. Nothing's perfect, but now someone's going to come and say, because they want your attention and money, that, hey, we got a problem here. Well, there ain't no fucking problem here. Problem is you who's talking about the problem that ain't there. So anyway, this is the problem that is there. Let me tell you. That's for sure. Because I don't need your attention. I don't need your money. I don't need nothing. What I need is get shit right. Because I'm a musician and I want to hear it right. So I got involved in even looking at any of this. So I thought you got 30 RPM is what it should be. So this kind of craziness, 11% markup is 33 1/3. So now you start to wonder, I'm starting to wonder now, and what if we're not even using 60 hertz right now? Maybe it's 66 2/3 for power. I don't know. But what was that number that I looked at here? Well, that exact number, if they want to sit here and rock your home to death, really want to make it hum, like a Hummer, like worse than what happened to Bill Clinton, or that ugly car. Either way, I think it's ugly. I'll tell you, compared to an SS Sport, or a Corvette, or a Mustang, you can take a Hummer and shove it. It's a box. It's like an Element. And if you like those cars, sorry, didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Maybe you shouldn't be listening to this anyway, because you wouldn't take it seriously. And regardless, just don't discussion here. You need a car. It was cheap. You have excuses. You have reasons. You like yellow. Fine. This is not the topic. Okay. Don't let me stray away with an insult like that, which is really, you could just say that's a matter of aesthetics, and yeah, you can get away with it here. But this is we're not talking aesthetics here, we're talking physics, and we're talking probably a common thread among every person to be happy, to be at peace, to have a home in control of the people in the home, by the people in the home, blah, blah, blah. And why it's kind of gone wrong. And this is what I'm researching. And this is where it's recorded now. And so, it's close enough when you think about it that, 60 hertz, you have that, you get 30. You have that, you get 15. And that's that frequency, you're talking about half of the wavelength, covering the length of your home that's parallel with the street. And I maybe didn't clarify why it's significant. You've been surfing, and I don't surf, but you think about it. That means when the wave is at peak, going across your home, your hum is at the highest positive charge of whatever the amplitude is. And then, what is it, 60 hertz, 1/60th of a second later, well, not 60 hertz in this case, 15 hertz, right? Right, 1/15 of a second later, say, or what, or whatever, or about one vibration of string bass, lowest string, or lowest note on your keyboard, on your piano, somewhere in that range. Your entire hum go in that direction. It's going to go up to the highest positive value and down to the lowest positive value, all at the same time. If it's double that, the amplitude probably is halved, because and the terror of tower is halved, because you've got a solid piece of hum. I'm sure, it's like a stick, If half of it you're doing one thing, it probably wouldn't affect it, but if you bend a stick like half of a sinusoid, it breaks in half, or bend until it breaks in half, could. Okay? And that's why half the wavelength is so important. And what it might mean too is sound, particularly say rap music that got popular, and you're using the lowest notes, very lowest notes possible audible, right? That is what really affects your home shaking. Why you can't stand it. And inside the home, particularly, this is something now I'm enlightened really much. Why, when the guy next door starts up his lawnmower, his big ass motorized things, blowers, weed whips, and more, when you're in the house and the door's shut, it feels like they're inside your head, banging on your head. It feels like your house is compressed with air. You open the door, it alleviates the problem. Even though there's more volume coming in from them cutting the lawn next door, the torment is halved or more. And that could easily be open the door now. The length of your home, actually decreased by the width of your door in some ways. And, and that motor, it's pumping out volume right down to the lowest audible frequency, which seems to be what's driving you nuts. 60 hertz is 3 times that frequency, or 4. And if it's an even multiple or so, it's probably just as damaging. At least it could be up to a fourth the amplitude. It could be, if it was right dead on the frequency to do damage. But 60 or 66, and this 18.33 is more on the money. And if I have to take a stretch to the end, I still say that's enough evidence that 50 hertz running through electric would still put us back in a less stressful environment, because it wouldn't hit so hard. Because 50 would come down to 25 in multiples and down to 12.5. And those are a lot farther away from these frequencies that are going to come out to wavelengths that are right on what I said, the length of the home here and width or whatever. The hum, like from going from your side to one side of your home to the other side. Okay, when you're facing a home, that's 10 yards. That's 30 feet. 30 feet. So a full wavelength of double that, I think, is the most harmful. That's 60 feet A wavelength of 60 feet equates to 18.333 hertz. Cycles per second seems to be just about a quarter of what power is going through your home. It's very close to the lowest audible frequency, more than say 12.5 hertz of a 50 hertz signal. And, I think that's pretty good for today. I haven't got nothing else I want to get into. I now have a better understanding why my computer is slow, on top of the fact that it's slow, because it's got bullshit always on it. And now it makes sense to me why Wi-Fi is so fucking slow. It don't even matter if you're the only one on your own router. Where I would start to help my own self. Well, now you know. I mean, you got someone with steady noise outside, chainsaw, open the door. Open the door, front door. Maybe just crack it. I don't care. You got to open it down. You got to break as much as you can. Because it's the exact length of just about exact length of the lowest audible frequency. And if you're working like I'm in the living room, the router's only 10 feet away. It's like, buy yourself an Ethernet cord. It'll be worth it to you. You could have speeds for all the things you pay for. You want ultra this, max speed that. Think about it, it ain't gonna make a fucking difference if you're using Wi-Fi. Because the Wi-Fi is, I don't know, it's gotta be the speed of air. It's radar, right? It's air. It's like submarine stuff. So, bing. It's we're talking 300 meters a second instead of 4,000 meters a second. It's 10 times slower than plugging in your thing to copper. How much you're losing? Now you gotta go look at your data plan for your internet. Check the speed they're giving you, and you'll see how much your loss is. And it probably, right there and there, whatever it is, I don't care Wi-Fi or copper, you may have been sold on something you're only gonna get anything good out of it, the lowest speed. Might as well take the lowest price, the lowest speed they offer. Because anything above that, you might as well be donating to charity, to their charity. Donating to the Wi-Fi Foundation, because it ain't gonna get you nothing extra. Don't take my word for anything I said today. But don't ignore anything I said today either. When you can, if you need to confirm it one way or another. If you want to take it for granted what I say and start just doing what I'm doing, I don't think you'll be hurting. And if you find it helps you, then you know I'm right. And if you get time to really understand it like I do, that's really what you need to do. Don't think, ain't got time, I'm too old. Old dog can't do tricks. My time is limited, I don't have time, can't make time. It's not just an attitude, it's that kind of decision making is why you will find yourself accelerated right into hospice. And then out the door, where you think you're going to be somewhere you don't know. So, change what you're doing. Live, day at a time, but live in a manner that living today provides you a tomorrow, because that's all that counts. If you stay in a game or anything, the first quarter, there's a second quarter, third quarter, fourth, fifth, and on. If you're out, that's it. Every day, part of your responsibility is to ensure you're here when you wake up tomorrow. It's not just God's responsibility. If it was, don't you think God would still have us all here? I think He would. No. It's our responsibility. We were given the brain, etc., etc. And He don't blame Himself if you're not here. He may cry every night because we're stupid, but it's in our hands. And if you do what you need to do to be here tomorrow, and you can help, then you can also help someone else to be here tomorrow. And you can't do neither if you ain't with it. When I talk about you, I'm talking about me, right?